I think it's just common knowledge now that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is the most manly anime there is, period. There is no comparison for the manliness that Jotaro and Jolene and Dio have amongst everybody. There is no one manlier, and there is no series I've seen that is as wacky, as fun, as chaotic, and just an absolute blast to go and watch and read. Before I get into any of my points, if you guys enjoyed the video at all, be sure to go and like the video and subscribe as I go and make weekly review recommendations just like this one and a whole slew of different series. And if you guys have any recommendations for any other series you'd like me to go and talk about, let me know in the comments, I'll be more than happy to. If there's anyone here that hasn't seen JoJo's in any sort of form, how? Because it is just memeified beyond belief. There are jokes, there are memes plastered everywhere. You will find JoJo references in every corner of anime and manga, and if you haven't sort of seen anything and thought, is that a JoJo reference? What? The way in which that the series of JoJo's managed to reinvent itself is that each of the series in the story is broken up into parts. And so currently there is 8 with a 9th on the way. I believe it's starting in 2022. But what they do is that in each of the parts, they have a brand new member of the Joestar family. So on the first series, you have Jonathan Joestar. And then in the second series, in the second part, you have the grandson of Jonathan Joestar being Joseph Joestar. And so then it continues onwards and onwards with each generational member of the family. And with each different part, with each different character, you've got a brand new personality, you've got a brand new setting, you've got a brand new time period. And with each part, it continuously just goes upwards in a trajectory in terms of the power scaling, the absurdity of the abilities. They get really crazy, especially in part 6, Stone Ocean, which the anime is coming out this year. The craziest abilities in the series is in part 6, honestly. Like they really hit a sort of barrier, and they have an answer for what happens next when they hit that barrier, which you'll see in later parts. But for this one, in part 6, Stone Ocean, they hit as far as they can go. So this series has some of the most wacky, fun fights that I've ever seen. One that comes to mind is in Stardust Crusaders in part 3, where Jotaro has an instance where he's fighting one of these characters, and he does so by playing poker. And it's absolutely hilarious because, you know, you have these fights and you're fighting each other, physicality, punching each other, you know, that's how fights work. But with this one, he was playing poker. And so it made it very interesting and very fun having that interaction back and forth because there's whole abilities involved, there's stands, and it was just a very fun time. And that's just one of the few fights that's completely different than what you would ever see in any sort of other series. So the series itself is currently being adapted by David Productions, and they are doing such a great job with the series. Like the soundtrack, just the visuals, they're adapting it so well. If you're like me and you're going through all the series and you just wanted more JoJo action, is that they actually have some of the 90s OVA animes from Stardust Crusaders, which is really, really cool. So having Jotaro and Dio is my absolute favorite character in the whole series. And just having more Dio action, especially with 90s animation, I absolutely love that. And just seeing that whole new style, it was really cool. So like I said, as the series progresses, they have to think of more interesting original ideas with these abilities. And it gets to the point where, as well as doing that, they have to think of abilities that are more powerful and are more absurdly just destructive and just impossible to sort of defeat with these main villains that they're so difficult to comprehend. And even the anime trying to visually explain these stands, they can get very complicated. For instance, the villain of part 5, King Crimson, he has the ability to replace time. So as the characters are interacting, they will just have seconds skipped ahead and they will have no idea what has happened. And what the ability has done is it can see time flow and it can just remove sections of time. It's a very confusing stand to explain, but in saying that, it means that you have villains that are so difficult to figure out on how to defeat that at the end of essentially every part with these main villains, I always think, how the hell are they going to go and defeat these guys? Because the ability is so absurdly OP. How are you going to defeat them? Because it is impossible. Who do you defeat a guy where they can see time as it flows along and they can just replace it with whatever they want? They can just take out sections of time. Like, what is that? Now, when I say that there are stand abilities that are really cool, really OP, and when I say that my favorite character is Dio, the world is the best stand ability, period. I will not be told anything else. I absolutely love the world. Whenever the world gets put on screen, whenever I hear that sound effect, it's the best. I just absolutely love it. So that's just my opinion. And also, that's just facts. Now, we have Part 6, Stone Ocean, airing at the end of 2021, which is awesome stuff. And like I was saying before, we're going to be seeing some really crazy stand abilities, and the end of that series is going to be absolutely insane. To see that animated is going to be absurd, so that's going to be really cool. But in saying that, with Part 6 now here, we are just one part away from the absolute best part of the entire series, and it is one of the best pieces of manga that I've ever read. It is so cool. And that is, of course, Part 7, which is Steel Ball Run. Now, whenever you hear JoJo fans talk about their favorite parts, they might say some other ones are their favorites, but 10 out of 10 JoJo fans will say that Part 7 is the greatest part, because it just is. It is the best written part. It is just so awesome. It is so interesting. It takes what has been previously established in the series and put a whole new coat of paint on it. It is such a great story. It has such great characters, and it is widely regarded as one of the best pieces of manga, period. Not just JoJo stories, but just as an actual separate manga story. And I would absolutely love to go and talk about all the different parts about Part 7 and why that's the absolute greatest part, but I'll probably go and make that for a different video. But just trust me when I go and say that Part 7 is worth the hype, and that when that gets animated, it's over. It's gonna be the, oh my god, it's just so good. Now, JoJo's is the most meme-ified anime there is, period. Like, the amount of memes and jokes and shit posts online about JoJo's, it is the most amongst any other series. And for me, I absolutely love seeing all the jokes online, and it just makes it so much more fun because you're watching the series, you're having a great time, you see these characters and stands are super fun, road roller, and then you just go and get all these different shit posts and jokes and videos. It's so much fun to go and dive in there and see all the shit posts. It is great. Now, with Part 8 JoJolion just wrapping up right now at the end of 2021, it was announced that the next series, Part 9, is going to be called JoJo Lands. So it is really cool to know that there is going to be a continuation with the series. So if you guys are absolutely brand new to the series, or maybe you've gone and watched the anime up to Part 6 now, and you want to start reading, you've got a great starting point with Part 6, then 7 and 8. And also, you've got a new part coming out very soon, so you can go and continue reading the manga with everyone else. So those are my thoughts on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. What is your favorite part, and why is it Part 7? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed, once again, like the video and subscribe for future weekly anime manga recommendation reviews. They're a lot of fun to talk about different series. And if you have any recommendations, let me know in the comment section. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Take care, and I'll see you all on the next one.